Yo, what's up guys, I'm V, and today I'll be reviewing the all-new Jurassic World Rebirth Launch and Battle Vehicle set. Alright, so quick warning, if you guys have not seen Rebirth yet, and if you still don't want to be spoiled, I recommend clicking off the video as there will be some minor spoilers in this video. Alright, so looking at this set, this is actually quite interesting because in Jurassic World Rebirth, as you can tell, the movie is already out. Basically, this is actually quite interesting because here you have the human figure. I forgot his name. Okay, there you go. And obviously, this is based off of the scene where he steals one of these cars and tries to run over, obviously, the Mutodon. However, instead of adding a Mutodon, they ended up adding a Velociraptor, which, as we all know, has like a total of 20 seconds worth of screen time in this movie. It is insane. I don't know why they added so many Velociraptors in this line and yet no Mutodons, but it's funny to me, honestly. So before we get into the set, as you can see, here is the packaging, just like every other packaging that we reviewed in this line. You got the jungle background, Jurassic World Rebirth Launch and Battle set. You got the Spinosaurus, which is kind of strange how they used a Spinosaurus in this box art and not a Velociraptor. Don't know why they didn't do that, but whatever. Looking up at the top, of course, you have the launch feature, which is what they use for the net. On one side of the box, it's the Jurassic World logo with a black background. The other side is obviously the same as every other box with a Jurassic World Rebirth logo with a red background. And the back of the box, of course, features a digital render of the set with the Velociraptor, the vehicle, the human guy, and all the parts list. So of course up here you have launch, where you can launch the missile. You got Martin Krebs figure included, which by the way, so far this is the only set where you can get this guy. So if you want this guy for whatever reason, you're gonna have to pay for this set. And of course you got the Rebirth Velociraptor being chased down by the all new vehicle. Something to do, find kind of interesting though, kind of funny actually, is if you look at the net right here, obviously you got a headpiece and you got the net piece. If you look at the nets that come with in this set, one of them obviously has a headpiece and the other comes with the net with no headpiece. So because of that, I think what they're trying to do is when they're making this digital render, they try to load both nets at the same time and merge them in together. So I think that was kind of a graphical error, because too, if you look at the parts list, even though one of the nets is fine, the other one is obviously merged together with both. So they must have had trouble loading in the net piece. So that, I find that funny how it's just literally just both nets, or not both nets, but both missiles basically just merged together. Alright, so starting off with the human figure, as you can see, we got Eli Mills in this new set. Oh wait, this isn't Eli Mills? Oh, my apologies, this is Martin Krebs, you know, that guy that's like really popular with the fans. You know, he was in the background. You know, he did that thing. I think he worked for the pharmaceutical company in the movie. I could be wrong. I don't really know his position because they never really stated. In fact, I think they only state this guy's name like once in the movie. So, you know, if you miss that, you know, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be honest with you. This guy has little to no purpose in the movie. I am so sorry. In fact, a lot of these characters in this movie, besides the main three, just serve little to no purpose in this movie. But of course, looking at this figure, you got his head sculpt, not too bad. He has his like signature white shirt. He has like these kind of like a tan colored pants. And then of course he has his brown boots. Sculpting is not too bad. They really went all out on his ass, by the way. That is crazy. Wow. But overall though, not too bad of a figure. It's a nice extra figure that you could add into the collection. But yeah, there you go. Now you got the main bad guy. I feel like this guy, like honestly, I feel like Eli Mills had more of a purpose than this guy. Like Eli Mills is more familiar, like more memorable than this guy. And Eli Mills was barely in the whole movie. I mean, he had like snippets in the movie. This guy somehow lasted the entire movie, and to be perfectly honest, I can't remember a single scene from this guy. Alright, so looking at the Velociraptor, of course it is a little bit accurate to the Velociraptor that we see in the renders. I'm not going to say in the movie, because in the movie it literally only has 20 seconds max of screen time, and during its 20 seconds of screen time it's literally in the background and you literally cannot see it. It's unfocused, it's at night, you cannot see this guy at all. But looking at the renders of this guy, it does seem like the head is a little inaccurate. The crest should actually be orange, the face should be a little bit yellow, and there shouldn't be as much blue. Also, looking down the body, there should be some more blue coloration going on down. But on here, they just gave it this grayish, reddish coloration to the entire body and just slapped some blue paint and some brown paint on the face. So looking at the sculpting, it's actually not too bad, I will admit. The overall pose of the figure, I'm not really too big of a fan of because it's currently stuck in like a stocking pose. Personally, I would have preferred it to be in a little bit more of a neutral pose, but I guess during its only 20 seconds of screen time, it is technically stocking, so at least that's accurate, I guess. Looking at the sculpting though, it's not too bad. Unfortunately, they gave it slit pupils, when in reality it should have round pupils. Moving on down the neck, of course the base color is like this brownish gray color with some black striping and some airbrushing underneath. Moving on down to the body of the figure, you got some more skin texturing, but then you got some more creased texturing for the ribcage area, which is pretty nice. Looking down on the arms and hands I feel like are just really huge. I'm not a big fan of that, but they are pronated. I'm not entirely for sure if they're pronated in the movie. I gotta look at that. I'll probably throw up a render, but the hands are indeed pronated, but of course they are way oversized. Looking at the legs of the figure, it's mainly just skin texturing, and of course it goes down to the feet. I feel like the feet they're not as big as the other raptors, but I also still feel like they're a little big still. Also, speaking of the feet, none of the claws are painted at all, just no paint whatsoever. Overall though, for articulation, of course it's just standard mainline articulation. Head can swivel, can go up and down, jaw can open and close, the arms can go forward and backwards, both of them. The legs can also go forward and backwards, and of course the tail can swivel. Just a standard mainline Velociraptor figure. Alright, and as for the star of this set, here we have the Jurassic World Cybertruck. Alright, so I know technically this isn't a Cybertruck, but as you could clearly tell, it is obviously based on the Tesla Cybertruck. And also not just that, but literally I've looked everywhere. The only name that this thing is given is off-road engine vehicle. This thing literally does not have a name at all. So when looking at the accuracy of this car, overall it's not too bad. Of course it got the standard colors and everything. However, I will admit this does need some work to it, because not only is it missing a lot of paint, but the sculpting isn't actually that accurate. I mean, it's accurate, but it's missing a lot of detailing. For starters, if we look down here on these chest thing, which by the way I have no clue how this one opens, because this one obviously flips open because there's nothing in front of it. But then you got this one, which you got this big old panel right here, and I don't understand how is that supposed to open. That doesn't make any sense. But when comparing it to the screen accurate one, oddly enough in the movie there's actually 3 chests. There's supposed to be 2 tan ones, and then you got this gray one, which is also painted tan on the side to go along here. But here they just completely painted it gray. Looking at the review mirrors, the arms should be black, whereas the actual mirror housing should be red, but instead they just made it all solid red. Looking at the front of the car, oddly enough, they made these bits gray when they actually should be black. And not just that, but this whole front part of the car should be completely black, but instead they just made it all red and just made the centerpiece a dark gray color. Also, something that's worth noting about this vehicle is that in the movie, this actually has 4 seats. It has 2 in the front and 2 in the back, but Mattel only added 2 in the front for whatever reason. And not just that, but since this is a custom vehicle, the people who designed the vehicle ended up reusing seats from a Jeep or something. But for some reason with Mattel, instead of just reusing the seats that they've already sculpted with their previous Jeep toys, instead they made completely new seats that are all hexagon futuristic looking. I don't know why they did that. They could have easily just reused the older seats that they've already made and just threw them in here and it would have been more accurate. But instead, knowing Mattel, they had to go the extra step to make it inaccurate. Alright, but enough of the inaccuracies though. I will admit this is actually a pretty nice looking vehicle. Of course, you got the Jurassic World emblem with InGen biogenetics right here with the O2. Something I'll actually love about this is that Mattel, for some reason, loves to pull a Kenner, and they just, usually when it comes to vehicles, they just slap the movie logo on the vehicle instead of adding the correct logos. But here, with this vehicle, it appears that Mattel has actually added the correct logos and emblems instead of slapping a movie logo on the vehicle. So looking at the back of the vehicle, of course you got the long tail light, just like the Cybertruck. And of course you got the inside is like the storage area with a hinge, which I'll get into later. And of course, the other side is exactly the same. Okay, so this part I'm going to kind of break the rules for when it comes to making reviews of these figures. On the back here, as you can see, there's a hinge that can like rotate and everything, and there's actually 2 like hooks on the side of it, and this gun actually clips into there. And if you look at here, there's also, it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there's also 2 hooks on the inside of here. Once you click this into here, it's gonna snap in and it's not gonna come out. And because I like my stuff being more screen accurate, I'm not gonna put this in, so I apologize. But overall, here is the gun that goes on the back of it. As you can see, obviously it can swivel, can go up and down, and the base can go up and down. And of course, when it's plugged into the back, it can obviously swivel as well. Of course, this is not really based on anything in the franchise, it's just a random toy gun that they included. But of course, with this toy gun, what you can do, obviously there's like handlebars for the figure to, obviously hook on. But you just press the red button and let's get it. Boom, look at that. It hit the Velociraptor. It didn't do anything, didn't knock it down or whatever, but it hit it. And of course, there's actually 2 holes on the sides here where you can actually store the missiles. Alright, and that was the Jurassic World Rebirth Launch and Battle Vehicle set. Not gonna lie, this is actually a really cool set. I really dig it. So, tell me what you guys think of this set in the comments below. Do you like it? Do you not like it? I'd love to hear your guys' opinions. But besides that, if you're new to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it and help me out. Also, I got some social media links. If you guys want to check that out and see more from me, I highly recommend you guys check that out. Link in the description below. But besides that, if you like this video, please leave a like. But yeah, this was it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.